So, good evening, everyone. Welcome back to another Trademark That Thursdays. Every Thursdays, I and Nina R. Spear Esquire, we take topics and we speak on the legal matters of that. But we do have a special topic for you today. But before we get into that, there's something that we like to do every few months or so, and it's called Manifesting Millions. So, what this is, it's about a 5 minute meditation. And what we do is we set the intentions for what we want our future to look like or what our present to look like. So if you have a moment, you want to take 5 minutes with me, and we're going to take a time to meditate. And it's manifesting millions, your floor, not your ceiling. So when it comes to meditation, usually people say you have to close your eyes, you have to lay down, you can do whatever you feel comfortable. For me, I'm going to just keep my eyes open because that's where I feel most comfortable. But if you just want to take a moment and sit and just take a couple of deep breaths, I'll do them with you now. So we just breathe in and we breathe out. And we breathe in. We breathe out. And one more time, we breathe in and we breathe out. So when it comes to meditation, we always want to set the intention, right? So I want you to take a moment and think about where you are right now in your life, right? We just got past a very tough year. 2020 was a wild year for a lot of us. But now that we are in the new year, we're in June, it's almost July, half the year is almost gone. Just take a moment and see how far you've come, the changes that you've had to make, the avenues that you've had to take, the innovations you've had to make in order to persevere. And I just want to take a moment to congratulate you on that, for making it, for taking that time to believe in yourself and to know that you have purpose and that your dreams can truly be a reality. As we sit here, I just want you to remember that just because you may not have it right now, it shouldn't keep you from trying. We are warriors. We defy the odds. We fight and we keep going. But I also would like to encourage you to take a moment like this and just breathe. Take a moment to know that you are doing your best and that you are good enough. Any intention or any ill will that may come your way, just know that you are worthy and that everything that you want is within your grasp, truly. So once again, we are manifesting millions, but even going past the millions, I just want you to begin to think of yourself in the mindset of abundance, of whatever abundance looks like to you, whether it's financial stability, family, friends, work. Manifest abundance. So we're just going to take a couple minutes to just sit with those thoughts, set those intentions. So we're just going to breathe in and you hold it. And breathe out. Breathe in again. And breathe out. I'm just going to sit in silence for about 1 more minute. And I just want you to remember that you are abundant. And I'll sit here and I'll even close my eyes with you. So just take this last minute and just reflect. I know it may not be easy to clear your mind because there are a lot of things that go on in life, but that's the beauty of meditation. It's not to clear your mind. It's just to take a moment to be where you are right now. So I'm just going to go silent for a moment and we're just going to sit. And I'll close my eyes with you. And as we sit in the silence, just breathe in and breathe out naturally. It doesn't have to be a deep breath. Just let your breath flow naturally. If you have chosen to close your eyes, whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. If you kept your eyes open with me, we're still here. So hello again. So once again, this is something that we like to do every quarter or so, just to take a few minutes and just reflect on how far we've come, and to remember that you are abundant, and that you can manifest millions, you can manifest abundance. But before we go, I just want you to remember to set the intentions of what you want your life to look like. It is absolutely possible for you to manifest the life that you want. So we're going to just take one more breath in, deep breath in, and out. So I just want to thank you for taking a few moments with me, just to take a moment out of the day, just to be in the moment. And we'll look for you next quarter. Be on the lookout, because it's definitely important just to take this time, just to remember that you are. So I'll go ahead and close it out there, and I'll go ahead and bring Nina in, and then we'll go ahead and get to it. But remember that you are abundant.
Hey y'all. Did you guys like that? I hope you guys did. I was checking in on y'all to see who's watching. I see some people out there on the LinkedIn universe. I know that we don't get to see you LinkedIn live people. So I have to go in and watch you on my live or on the live stream to see what the comments are. But whoever you are out there in the LinkedIn universe, just know that this is y'all's particular episode today. So I wanted to share the TTT meditation that we do every quarter with you guys. I know I've done it on my YouTube. I know I've done it on my Facebook. And for the first time, we've done it with Shayna. She was super nervous, guys, but she did really great. So, the nerves was all part of the perfectionism that's inside of her, but it's always going to be a move and a mood with Shayna. She's all shy now. She went on mute. But I tell you guys this. If you guys don't take this time to meditate and really think about where you see yourself, where you envision your life in the next year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 or 5 years down the road, and share this live with somebody on LinkedIn who probably needs this message. If you don't start thinking about it now, if you don't start thinking that $1 million is your floor, not your ceiling now, then later on, the only thing you're going to aspire to is $1 million. And I mean, you'd be doing that a disservice, right? It's like doing something for a Klondike bar. Yeah, we would all do something for a Klondike bar, but is your $1 million, is that a Klondike bar for you? Or do you want more? Do you have a bigger intention for the world? And if you do, can you do it with just $1 million? If you budget it, could you do it? Do you want more? Do you want something for your family? Do you want to be able to retire? Do you want to be able to help other people retire? Where is your millions going to go? Because it can't go all to you. I mean, we all take that money out, roll around in it every once in a while, and maybe it'll feel good for a second. But if you make millions of dollars, you look at Bill and Melinda, and I don't think they're going to be together anymore because we all seen what's been going on with them. You look at people who make money. What you see them do is finding ways to give back, ways to diversify their streams, and to invest in other things and causes that they care about, and that could possibly work for them. So I want you guys to really take that time to think about what you would invest your millions in, because if millions are your ceiling, then you don't have much room, right? You only have enough money to last until your millions run out. But every year, NBA, NFL, and all these other huge sports athletes are negotiating $1 billion contracts, millions of dollars. And millions is not even on their brain. They're trying to get to the billions. They're trying to get into the big figures. Why? What's the point? Well, I don't know what their point is, but I know that if you are a small business owner or a business owner that's a minority or anything of that nature, you probably want to build a legacy for your family. You probably want to take your name and use it to mean something highly valuable to the people around you. And if that's what you want, then guess what? You got to go after it with a fervent determination and not just, okay, well, that's what I want. That's what I kind of want. You got to go after everything that you want. So, what Shayna was saying and how she was interacting with your future steps, it's all because it's inside of you. And it's just got to be activated. So I hope that you guys feel activated and I hope you guys are ready because the Trademark That Thursdays episode for today is up next. We're going to give you a short intermission and y'all are going to watch the CEO Ronnie series and all the different offerings that we have for the CEO Ronnie brand video. But after that, we're going to talk about Trademark That Thursdays. And what is our episode today? Well, it's probably something that you know. I don't know if you like football, but if you do like football, well, we're going to be talking about some people's favorite sports team, not my favorite. But I do have some friends who are definitely fans of this football team. So if you can guess it before we get to the actual thing, one, you've been paying attention to our branding. Two, there may be a special prize. So I like prizes. I like rewarding people. So if you can drop it in the comments before we get it up there in the next 3 to 4 minutes, then we'll probably give you a prize. But only if you can drop it in the comments before we get it up there. So while you guys wait, we're going to put on a nice love video. The CEO Ronnie series video should be at the very, very top of video overlays. But yeah, like I really do. I want you guys to manifest your millions. Let's go to Trademark That Thursdays shortly after these messages. Hey y'all.
Oh, gone.
Not much. So what's on the trademark radar today? Did anybody guess? Nobody guessed, huh? Dang. I was trying, y'all. I was trying to give out prizes today. I
I
guess
didn't
we'll
guess.
give out prizes for participation. How about that?
I'm cool with
We give
that.
out participation prizes? Is that possible? We could do that.
I feel that's in the realm of possibilities.
Alrighty. Well, tell me what we're talking about today, Shayna. Gotta talk to my people.
Sure. So, as everybody knows, football season is coming up, and there is a very famous football team that has a matter going on with the USPTO, and it happens to be the Washington football team. So, I'm really interested to see exactly what's going on with this. I remember them when they went by their previous name, but I know there's a whole entire history that you will enlighten us on, Nina. So
Okay.
I am curious to see what exactly is going on with the trademark request that was refused by the USPTO. So
Okay.
when you are,
So, if something's refused by the USPTO, and most people don't know this, and this is why a lot of trademark attorneys are in business, because they didn't do the diligence necessary to search beforehand, or if they did do the diligence, they wanted to chance it and see if they would be able to be successful with their trademark application. Now, the Washington football team seems like a real basic name. And one thing I can tell you, and this is just me being the type of person I am, I'm very, very open to people using basic names. I don't really think that that's something that you can't trademark. I just think you have to be very strategic, right? So if you look up the words Washington football and you don't see anything pop up, maybe, okay, maybe we use that. We use that process and it's totally fine. But if you do use that term, right? If you use Washington football and for some reason, okay, it comes up where there are multiple people who have used Washington football, probably shouldn't call yourself the Washington football team. I know it's simple. I know it's easy. It seems like an easy fix because it's generic. Generic has limited enforceability. Okay. We talked about this on name strength many times. All right. But let me tell you about name strength. Just because a name is strong, okay, doesn't necessarily mean that your name is stronger than other trademarks. So, one thing that you should know, you are going to use the word Washington, right? Washington football team. Washington football team is commonly used. And if you're going to use it to describe what? A football team, it doesn't make it very strong. So you are already going to encounter some issues with that in particular. However, this particular team has specialized issues with this particular trademark. What do I mean by that? Well, this person, I don't know how to say his name, so I'm not gonna mess it up, but we're gonna talk about him. This person has many trademarks, and we're gonna talk about what that is called a little bit later. But there are people out there that do hoard trademarks like they hoard domains. Listen to me when I say this. There are people out there who hoard trademarks like they do domains. So this particular team is in facing an issue because not only did they pick a generic name, they also have a very, very excited fan. And so we'll talk about that very, very soon. But this name is just not very strong. Let's just be real. I mean, it could have been stronger. You could have named it anything, but you decided to call a football team the Washington football team. So the legal issue we're going to talk about today is what would prevent somebody who is a nationally recognized franchise from trademarking a name that they have been known by or that they want to be known by. Very simple. A previously registered trademark, a previously filed trademark application, or previous use of that trademark in commerce. And in fact, there are many of these issues in this particular case. You're going to see why in a second. But the legal issue in this matter is why someone will be prevented or have a issue registering a trademark. It's because somebody did it first. Y'all hear me? We talk about this all the time. The whole reason why I make trademarks is if you guys understand that if you form a business, that doesn't make your business protected. An LLC is not a trademark. I'll say that again. LLC is not a trademark. Filing with your Secretary of State is not a trademark. Filing with anybody with that's not the USPTO is not a trademark. Even if you file through a third party application, you still have to argue until your trademark is registered. And even then, you have to enforce your trademark centers and trademark monitoring. And if you use a third party site, all they do is get you the registration certificate, and they don't even have the services that you would want, right? Because you don't want to talk to a computer, you don't want to talk to a customer service line, you want to talk to a lawyer. So, the biggest thing that you have right now are people creating businesses. Great. I'm so proud. COVID made us start businesses. But you have people, okay? And you don't read about this. You don't believe me, okay? Because a lot of times people I think lawyers are always trying to sell you stuff. Jay-Z is encountering this problem right now. Okay? And Jay-Z is a recognized brand, but he had a photographer. And the photographer and him didn't have, possibly, we don't know, but there might be a contract issue where he didn't protect his intellectual property rights. All trademarks are really is a way for you to protect your intellectual property, your name, your likeness, and your brand. A lot of people don't do that. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. But it makes it harder later for you to enforce your rights because you can say that you used it first, but you can't say it filed it first. You can't say that you built a brand. You can't say that you sent all your information to the USPTO. And the USPTO, until otherwise declared, is usually the person who declares in the United States and surrounding territories that that is a trademark that's recognized nationally and goes to national registry. Right now, your issue is why would they tell you no? They tell you no because somebody did it first. But why? Why would someone do it first? What's the point? What's the point of filing a trademark if you're not really the one who needs it? Let's talk about that. So, Shane, I think it was a question I think you had earlier. It's a really good question. It also looks like a punchline. What was that question you had earlier? What do you call a person who has a lot of trademarks that are close to the name of your established franchise or just close to your brand name? Well, you got that person a trademark squatter. Yes. Or a trademark troll, as other news outlets call it. But I like squatter because squatter signifies the word squatter's rights. So when people like stay at your house, you learn in property law that people who are squatting, right, obtain some form of an ownership by obtaining that spot for a period of time. So they are privy to owning that because they owned it first. But in squatting, in a property situation, there's way more factors to prove. In domains and trademarks, you know what you got to do? You got to pay them to get it or prove that they secured it under fraudulent terms. And the USPTO, you would still have to prove the fraudulent act. If the person creates a website, if the person builds a brand, if the person sells t-shirts with the brand information on it, then that makes it a little bit more difficult. But they are called a trademark squatters. Those people, nothing wrong with them. This is a business, okay? Take it personal. This is business. If I buy a domain that I think that everybody's going to want one day, I would buy domains, and I'm not telling you to do this. I'm just telling you it's a business, okay? If you see an athlete out there in the world that is becoming really, really well known, or an artist out there in the world, you can buy their .com. I, I'm just saying, you can buy their .com and sell it to them later. Just saying. That's what squatters do. Same thing with trademarks. People buy trademarks. Later on, they have a transfer agreement and they get paid because they were the owner. Okay? You got to spend money to make money. And so that's what they're doing, spending money to make money. It's just a hustle. It's nothing bad. However, I did read Mr. Macaulay's statements, who is the guy in this case who has about 40 plus trademarks with all the different variations of names that the Washington used to be Redskins, now the Washington Football Club or football team is trying to register. And so if they choose one of his names, well, there may be an issue because they want to sell merchandise. Yep, where sales come from? Sales come from merch. Y'all see all those Washington Redskins clothes when we go out on the metro in DC, and they everywhere. If there's a game, they everywhere. Okay, same with the Washington Nationals, they everywhere. So they want to sell merch. So if you selling merch and you have the trademark ownership for the name we want, it means you'll be able to sell our merch and profit off of it. And so they can make it so they wouldn't have that issue if they choose a name that he's registered. But they could come up with a whole new name, right? They could make up a word. It's possible. It's never been done before. It's maybe not as relatable. People might not like it. But you know what? It would give them a stronger application. And it would make it so they wouldn't have that issue. But a lot of people, they recognize words that are actually words in the football industry and beyond, right? Or they can go, a step further. They could think about something that's in a different language. But again, you have to think about the repercussions. If this person is the owner of a trademark, what rights does he have to enforce it against them? Now, according to his Twitter, he don't want no money. He want to give it to him for free. He want to help them out. But then he retained an attorney who said that they could have negotiations, whatever that means. Okay. But I'm telling you, trademark squatters, they're real. He may or may not be a trademark squatter. We don't know. We know that he's receiving a lot of negative feedback online and on social media. And he just kind of like feels like he's being targeted. But I mean, he kind of made himself party to that, right? Because he did go and spend about $20,000 worth on trademark applications to own trademarks that may be the next name for the Washington Redskins or the Washington football team now. Now, the Washington Redskins was retired. I don't know if you heard about that, but let me talk to you about it just briefly. So, if you think about the Washington Redskins, and you probably remember that it was a pejorative term, Redskins, because it referred to Native Americans. Many people don't know why. In fact, I went and looked it up myself, okay? I wanted to know what the real big thing was. And I remembered once upon a time, but I just had to clarify. So there was back in, I think, 1865, not mistaken. I could be wrong on the exact year, but it was in the 1800s. There was an ad in Minnesota place that people would get $200 for every redskin Indian that they killed, and they had to prove it by showing the red skin. So they actually referred to dead Indians by redskin. Crazy. That was the ad placed to kill Native Americans. And that is the issue that most people have had with that. It also signifies the color of someone's skin. Now, the main issue with the N word, what is it? When it literally translates into the word black, okay? It was used in a pejorative way. Pejorative doesn't just mean, and I'm only giving you guys a little bit extra commentary because I read some law review stuff about why Redskins not really offensive, and it was written from a perspective that doesn't really understand how to dig deep. It's pejorative because of how it was used, okay? You could use the word redskin in a positive way if you were using it to recognize or to say negative things in the past. That's all that matters, is it was used to be derogatory towards people in the past, whether it meant they were going to kill Indians or they just wanted them to know that they had red skin. Regardless, it was used in a derogatory manner. It was put in ads to kill Native Americans. So in case you ever wanted to know. And the USPTO even took issue, right? It came up in T-Tab. They had litigation. The Washington Redskins kept fighting, though. They kept appealing and they kept winning. And then they actually did get in trouble because it was pejorative, right? And then it was also appealed and denied because of the constitutional right to free speech. I'm telling you this because the reason why they changed their name wasn't the USPTO. Contrary to popular belief and the internet. That's why you can't believe everything you read on the internet, and you need to read the articles in full. So the article actually says that they came back and because of the pejorative nature of the word Redskins. They actually changed their name and retired it because they were losing sponsors. People said, no, I'm not going to buy from you no more, and we're not going to sell your products if you don't change your name. That's why they changed their name. Okay. So if you wanted to know, if you want the USPTO put some pressure on them, they didn't care. But the USPTO cases brought some fame and claim to the Redskins. name to their sponsors, knowing what was happening, and their sponsors either had to take a stand or lose their own business. And nobody wants to lose their own business. So just keep that in mind and remember that when you're thinking about what the USPTO did in this case. A lot of people have a misunderstanding, think the USPTO took their power away. USPTO is a little bit more stringent on them right now because they are trying to use generic terms, football team, to indicate a football team. Come on, y'all. Like, y'all know this is about like pizza place for place. It's not even allowed really to be trademarked because it wouldn't be fair to let you call a football team and nobody else can call a football team a football team. And all you did was put the word Washington in front of it. So if there's any Washington football team, now they can't call themselves the Washington football team. Just letting you know. I'm letting you know. And the Washington footballers were already there before them. So again, before you decide what you're going to change your name to and put it on the stadium and the signage and all that, maybe, just maybe, try to see what's not registered. Okay? I'm just saying. So you know, there is merchandise already gone mainstream. There is. It is at risk because right now, after they overcome possibly an office action, they're going to have to deal with the fact that the Washington football team is still generic. So how are they going to enforce their rights? And they're still going to have to change their signage because that's not their final name. That's their temporary name until they come up with another name. So their signage and their merchandise is in risk. And not only that, they're going to have to pay much money to rebrand everything. So I'm telling you, make sure that you do your research before you start building a brand because you know what's more painful than building a brand, and then all the boxes that you ordered to ship everything in, that is not the boxes you're going to use no more because it's got the wrong brand information or the wrong logo or the wrong wording or the wrong anything. So you bought 50, 60 boxes to ship out and you can't even use it. That's where they're going to be at if they don't decide on a name at some point in time real soon because right now there's nothing to enforce. It's the Washington football team. Washington footballers. What's the difference? Won't people get them confused? Won't they be the same? It's really important. The reason why a lot of people are upset is because they think that Macaulay is the one keeping them from being able to do anything. That would be the case if they decided they wanted his for their brand. But maybe they're probably trying to find any name but a name he registered. And if that's something they do, then we don't have anything to worry about. The issue is, can Macaulay prove that he's a football team? Can he prove that he's really a legitimate merchandise seller? We've seen the website. I sent the website to Shayna. Shayna can even show it to you while I'm talking. But I've seen the website. The website is not really like a website that you or I would go to and purchase anything from. But there is a website that has all of these different names as tabs at the top, at the header. There is definitely a website. I can't tell you anything different. So you have to be aware that people who do squatting, they think about everything. All right. But is it effective? Would it be considered fraudulent? Would they consider this a legitimate brand? That's up for debate. We talked about this, right? The Glow Industries issue when we talked about it for Trademark That Thursdays versus J-Lo, okay? Like registered brand versus I'm thinking about making it a brand. Or I got a website, but the website don't really have no sales. Like that type of stuff. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, that's very interesting for them to change their merchandise or have their merchandise be at risk because somebody else is trying to sell it before they do. That's all this is. That's all this is. I mean, they smart because what do sports athletes sell? Apparel, merch. That's literally the main source of some of their income. If you guys look at I'm Just Here So I Don't Get Fined by Marshawn Lynch, it is for apparel, t-shirts, hats, beanies. That's what you protect in the sports industry because that's what everybody wants to rock. That's what they want to wear. So that's what you would protect ultimately. So that should be fun for them in the next process. Any other questions you have? Is this considered? Yes, it is considered an example of confusingly similar to the Washington footballers if they do show that they actually have the same type of merch, same similarity, but the wording Washington football, the only difference is the ending. The Washington football team, the Washington footballers. The lers is the only thing different. Now, you could say that it probably wouldn't be effective. But you could that footballers and football, football club or football team aren't the same ending. So there's a different word that distinguishes it. But if we're thinking of Washington footballers, then we're probably going to think that they're a team. So it's typically going to be associated with what people normally think it would be. So they would probably think the two are the same or synonymous. And that might be difficult for a lot of different people. So yes, it can be confusingly similar. Will they say it's confusingly similar if an attorney effectively is able to argue differently? No. Maybe there are a lot of Washington footballers. Maybe there are so many that have been permitted to register a trademark that this is no longer an issue. So it just depends. What else you got? Why would a franchise as large as this not verify it's eligible to trademark for? I mean, they probably wanted to do something easy, right? They're like, who's going to take Washington football team? Who's going to take it? People already took it, and sometimes it's just not doing an effective search. Most times, for most like business owners, it's just not doing an effective search. But for a franchise as large as this, I'm not sure why they didn't verify. I'm not sure if they didn't verify or they decided, happens. There's a lot of let's see what happens type trademark things. I don't take on every let's see what happens type trademark case because I know for a fact that it's going to be office action and I know it's going to be a heavy burden. It's not that I'm not ready to fight. I just got clients I'm fighting for right now that I want to see like nuanced arguments with, and I want to have those arguments and really challenge the way the USPTO thinks. And then there's stuff that's literally, it's like on the nose violating the rule. And so if it's something that's on the nose violating, I'm not going to take it on. Maybe their attorney decided that it was not on the nose and they could have a creative argument. And if that's what they decided, then yeah, they're going to file it, even though they verified that it wasn't eligible to trademark. But they're like, I don't really think that that's going to keep us from going because they've let other stuff in. There are all sorts of different rules. I see Shayna is showing. Shayna, see if you can put it on the desktop view. Yeah, perfect. Whoa, it's kind of cool. But this is the site, the one that Martin McCall, I can't remember the man name, Martin McCauley has created. Yeah, Philip Martin McCauley, he's created this. This is a very, and it says he has sold retail products since 2006 at the bottom. And he's got it all set up. So if he gets Washington Arrows, boom. Washington Federals, boom. It's the same thing. It's the exact same thing on every single tab. Okay, it's the exact same thing. But it's for any team that they decide. And when they do decide, he's gonna get rid of the rest of these. He is. Okay. And if he doesn't get rid of the rest of these, he's gonna sell merch at these as a gag gift. Okay. Trying to tell you. So, like, that's what he did. He created something called the Washington American Football.com. Okay. And that's literally all he did. Okay. And you can see which one's his favorites because he put the Pandas website, the Washington Pandas, which I don't know why that's his favorite, but he has a Washington Pandas website. So he wants them to be named the Washington Pandas. No idea why. But this is the website that he has. And he does sell merch from here. He definitely sells books. He sells t-shirts. He sold 10 t-shirts, I think, before. Like, there are people who buy stuff from him. And honestly, depending on who reads this, what USPTO person is looking at this, he's been awarded trademarks. So this will be an interesting next step. But it's not that they didn't verify. Sometimes people verify and choose to file anyways. That happens all the time in this field. And usually it's because your attorney warned you it's going to be an office action. But that person does not want to change their name. So they just say, well, let's just try it out. Versus the attorney is trying to tell you, just file this action. We can try again or rebrand, but they don't want to. So that's usually what happens. Any other questions? So it's kind of two part, right? Like the business owner, the owner of the franchise will be responsible if he's the one handling the legal matters. But usually big franchises like that have like a legal team. So their legal team overall is responsible. And their IP lawyer isn't necessarily the one that's responsible. It's more so like their marketing brain. So they're the ones that are responsible for like and things like that, because they know industry, so they would know firsthand who they're competing against. So they would know that there's other Washington footballers out there and be able to communicate that to the legal team. So it's not really anyone's fault per se. It's more so like the whole team has to work collaboratively. It's like not having someone in the room who knows what they're talking about when it comes to marketing and branding. When you're talking about how to market and brand to minorities, there's no minority in the room to give you any opinions, then you might not know what to do. If there's nobody who can help you understand how to deal with trademark trolls or people who buy up your trademarks, potential names, then you might not know what to do. So you might have to deal with somebody or get someone on your team who's good at dealing with people who are trademark squatters. And that might be the big issue that they're having. Maybe they don't have someone who deals with that on a regular basis, because this is an abnormal situation. I have yet to see somebody who owns 40 different trademarks under a name based on the fact that they might name something that seems like excessive, right? But according to him, he's just a big fan. Okay. And I mean a big one, because $20,000, sir, come pay my student loans off. I'm just saying, $20,000 worth of trademarks, and you don't even know which one they're going to name it, but you just hold it. Just hold it. Hopefully they'll pay you for one of them. So like a lot of people don't think about this, but you can't necessarily make your money back from your trademark unless you get paid to keep to, like, for someone else to have it. So you don't get, if you buy trademarks as a trademark squatter, it has to be for the main purpose of selling it to somebody else. Okay, that Glow Industry versus J Lo, like that guy sold the rights to that to her. And I mean that was a profit for him, because he bought a trademark, he kept it, he decided he just want to sell it. So it was a benefit to him because he filed for a trademark and then he sold it. That's why we tell you in the trademark law field, and like lawyers are telling, it's a business asset. You can sell it. You can sell the rights to it. You can also license the rights of use to it without selling the rights to it completely. You can license use and have it be a restricted license. And you can have licensees able to sell under your name as long as you get credit and a portion. Just saying. That's why we call it a business asset. So that is why these conversations need to happen very early and very importantly. What else? What steps? So I think they've already filed for, I think, their team name at this point, but for whatever name they're going to do now, the best thing to do is either file 1B or 1A. 1B means that you're going to use it. 1A means it's already in use. So if they have this trademark troll, I would try to file for a 1B. But the issue is the 1B application means that you have to get it together like real quickly, but then it'll already be on the books. So what I would do is file something that y'all thinking about in a 1B application beforehand. So then, he doesn't have superior claim because he didn't file it first. So whatever you do file, I wouldn't even have something similar in name. Honestly, you don't even have to put the word Washington in the front. I know every other football team has that, but you could put Washington in a different location. I'm just saying, you could try to, reinvent the wheel, and like try to put something else together, and end it with Washington, like, the something Washington. I don't know, and try to make it a play on words. But I will tell you this: if you are going to register one, you need to file it 1B or 1A. Once you file the 1B or 1A application, you need to have some type of proof. Their proof is going to be their signage, their website, their whatever. Whatever they change, they clearly have a troll. So he's going to go buy up the domain. So you need to buy the .coms, you need to get the Instagrams, you need to get the Facebooks, all of that. You need to get it all secured before you ever announce or file the 1B application. Because if you don't, what you're going to deal with is he's just going to trademark troll you on something else. So whatever you do decide on, whatever you're thinking about, you should just buy this .coms right now, just to kind of prevent that issue from further, metastasizing into something like crazy, like you can't even control it. What else? What else? So the takeaways for this is simple. Don't be a trademark troll, trademark squatter. I'm just kidding. Don't though. That's like weird. Not because it's a bad thing, okay? Because it can be good, right? Because if you're doing it in a business thing where it's kind of professional, makes sense. But in this situation, like, I mean, they get harassed all the time because they're being a trademark troll. Second, it doesn't really give you a good name, right, for your business. So if you're going to that's your business and your brand, you really have to work under like an anonymous like screen name or something like that to maintain like respect in your industry. And then second, like who wants to be known as the person who buys up trademarks? Like I want to be known as somebody who buys up stuff that appreciates in value or stocks or something, or has like a high investment portfolio. Like trademarks are cool, but you're buying the same type of trademark. That's crazy to me. Like you're buying it from different companies and whatever, cool. But if you're just trying to make one company give you a big payout, that's one technique. But you know, you could just work real hard and build a brand that says that you support them without having to support them. But again, if you've been a fan for as long as he says he's been a fan, I mean, this might be his only way to do it. That might be his way of supporting them, and maybe they need to talk about coexistence agreements. But the takeaways are that you should consider being a trademark troll, a trademark squatter really carefully, because it does ruin your 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 reputation. It makes people not like you. And I mean, your goal in life is not to be liked, but I mean, in business, you at least want to be respected. And I don't know that he's going to walk away with respect from this. I will respect his hustle, his grind, buying the domain, buying the trademarks, but you spent so much money. Unless you're going to get the money back that you spent, I don't see it, working. But there are people selling domains for hundreds of thousands of dollars, $300 or $400. But you know what I tell my clients? Just get another name. Don't buy that. Like, and I'm just being honest. Like, you don't have to negotiate with people who do that, and that's crazy to me. All right. So there are no more questions. One thing I want you guys to leave with is the Washington Redskins are now the Washington football team. The Washington football team is who's having an issue trying to file it because of something called the Washington footballers. And the guy, Martin McCauley, has about 40 plus trademarks. And one of his 40 plus trademarks is something related to the Washington football team. And it's also causing them issues. So when you are a big franchise or a small franchise, okay, because you can be small and become big later on, but you need to make sure that you're taking the extra precautions to buy up your .coms, as well as get the Instagram handle and the Facebook handle and all of that before you announce anything. And I think this is why they're treading really lightly, okay, real lightly on this one. So if you enjoy, right, your sporting team or whatever, why don't you go look it up? Look it up. See if they've actually registered their trademark. Because most of the sports teams that you love, they have, but most of them didn't have the same issues that the Washington Redskins did, which is the pejorative name being part of them. So go and look up your favorite sports team. See what happens. If you decide that you want to be a trademark squatter after this, I can't stop you. But I will tell you proceed with caution. And remember, confusingly similar is something that causes issues for people trying to get trademarks, but also trademark applications are not cheap. Okay, that is one of the most expensive services. I don't know about my other services and things like that, but for my business clients, it's one of my most expensive services. And it's still a lot of money to pay to do all these trademarks, and all you're gonna do is sell t-shirts and merch. If you're not gonna really like build out the brand, then it does feel a little bit fraudulent. It will make you not like your job. And if I had a client like that, I probably would not take them on. I understand it's money, but all money ain't good money. I put it like that. So just remember, you determine what type of trademark lawyer you want to be. And that's probably not the area of law I want to go into. The whole reason why I got into this is to make people who have business owners dreams come true, for them to protect their brand, for them to be able to send cease and desist letters from people trying to covet what they already have protected. But this is just kind of tacky. That's my takeaway for here. Don't be tacky. Don't be tacky. Shayna, tell us what you learned today before we leave, and I guess we can be out and you can talk about the trademark that Thursday's course a little bit. But that's about it. So come on back to us, if you will. There she is.
Hi.
Hi. What did you learn today about Martin and the Redskins or the football team, whatever they want to be called?
Well, what I did learn is that large franchises have these issues as well. I know in previous weeks we've touched on somewhat similar situations with smaller businesses, but I haven't personally heard of like a larger franchise having this issue. So the fact that this is even a thing is like completely mind blowing to me, especially for such a well known football team. And for them to like have all this merch and then it be at risk, that really was surprising to me. And I'm also, I know that people buy up like and register trademarks, but I didn't realize the extent that they go to. So I guess the main takeaway, for lack of better word, being like, don't be tacky. So that's like the biggest thing. But no, but this, in all seriousness, this is really interesting. And I actually did learn a lot, per usual, as you know, my notes. So other than that, that's I'm gonna go research this more because I really like this. This is good. So, getting
I think you're
into,
starting to desire to be a trademark lawyer. It's fine. I'm just building the seeds and planting them now.
I don't
Maybe
know,
maybe
what's
one day.
really, yeah, because literally with
Yeah.
everything that we've done, it's just like that's interesting, huh? But
But
just
yeah.
like you mentioned, just a quick plug with the trademark accelerator course. I've had a time to take a look at it, and it's actually really interesting. The way that the intention, as we talked earlier, the intention behind it, Nina wants to provide a platform for like new attorneys who want to add an extra, notch to their toolbox in the realm of trademarks. So not only learning how to do trademarks, but to be able to like teach them to your clients and to let them know exactly the process it is and what exactly goes on so that you can build that client, um, build that rapport so that they're the ones who come back to you and that you are the professional. You are the go-to person who knows about trademarks. So, like I said, I've had a chance to look at it. I found it really interesting. Once I go get my JD, I'll be in there, Nina. Just give me a couple years. I'm almost there. Just give me a couple years. But in all seriousness, I would suggest for anybody who really wants to learn about trademarks to just go to the NinaTheLastBrand.com and check it out, trademark.thursdays.com. We also have the Instagram handle at trademark.thursdays. That's where all of this info goes. All of the topics that we do, like it's all on trademark.thursdays. We have something called TTT Takeaway that comes out on Fridays or Saturdays, and it just gives a recap of just what we've talked about today. So you go follow us on Instagram, you'll see the TTT Takeaway. And maybe if Nina's up to it, we still have that giveaway. Maybe.
Maybe.
So I will
If you
leave it at
comment, how
that.
about if you're coming by the end of today? If you comment by the end of today, your intention for your business on the IGTV post that Shayna will post later, maybe. We'll see. We will see. We will see indeed.
Time will go. But that's all I have,
All
Nina.
right. Pull us out, boss.
All right, so we are out of here. We're just going to leave you with one more vid just to check out the brand. I know a lot of you are familiar, but just one more time, we're just going to run it for you just to, welcome us back to the StreamYard and welcome us to LinkedIn. This is the first one we've done, right, Nina?
Yeah, it's the second time. I played around with it the first time. Sorry, you weren't here. I was playing around on my own. But, I appreciate you.
Well, the second time with yours truly. So until next time, y'all take care.